Also, during the game, Nick Rolovich removed the benches from his side of the field. I mean, building a program and obviously trying to teach his players a lesson there. I'm just curious your reaction to both those things.
Yeah.
Those things.
Well, I'll say this. As a football fan, when you see guys get injured and stay in the game and make plays, and you know a guy's got a broken arm, that's football. That's toughness, and not everybody does that. And I don't know the kid, but I've got respect for him. The guy went out there and made plays, and you could see he's running around and one arm's dangling, and he's hitting guys with the other arm. I mean, that's a tough football player. And this time of year, everybody's got bumps and bruises. Everybody's got injuries and all that. It's a total mindset. You're going to go out there and play. You're going to go out there and fight. You committed to a game. I'm not saying every guy that breaks his arm is going to finish like he did, but he didn't take himself out. So, that type of stuff, it doesn't go unnoticed. Let me just say that. I don't think any coach can and just take that and say, well, that's not that big a deal. That's a big deal. It's a tough kid. It's unfortunate he's not playing. The benches, that whole situation. I'll say this: at Arkansas State, we took our benches out at practice. We had benches out there at practice and all that. We first got there, and it didn't seem like a big deal. And guys were sitting down. It was never at a game, but at a practice, we had them out there from. Guys just left them out there for the games, didn't take them away, and guys were sitting down at practice and not engaged and all that. Yeah, it means something. Never seen it in a game, and that's his call. Every coach has to do something, all right, for his football team. And if that was the thing that he decided that he needed to remove him, I would trust his judgment on it. That's not what he wanted to see from his team. It's probably not just something that stemmed from the game. Those things are always something that build up to a point where it's like, you know what, we talked about it and we're not doing it. It's time for, a decision to be made. And, I wouldn't disagree with him because I kind of laughed about it with Coach Riddle and some of those guys at Ark State, and we did that at practice. And one day we come out there and the guy's like, where's the benches? And we're like, exactly. That's not the focus of practice. We don't need to be sitting down. We're out here for 2 hours. Let's come out here and practice like we're out here for 2 hours trying to get better. And he made that decision, and I think whatever he felt like he needed to do was right for his team.
Your chances of winning the Mountain West Championship obviously a little better now than this time last week. I'm just curious. I know it's kind of the 1-0 control, we control, but is there any more energy, enthusiasm, positivity, maybe this week, just kind of knowing that it looks a little more possible? And I guess with that being said, is that kind of a carrot for the seniors too, maybe in this team to not have this be the last game at home this year?
Probably, but that's not a focus. And I said it before too. We never feel like we control anything until the end of the year. And I think it was last week, somebody was talking about, hey, the next 3 or 4 weeks, and I mentioned something that college football is going to get flipped on its head. I mean, it still is. And you kind of saw what happened last week with some of the teams that are ranked up high, and those teams losing. It's amazing every week. When you go out there and play against another team that has 85 scholarships, how those teams and the emotions of the game, especially at the college level, when that flips and the emotion of one team is not quite there and the other one is, things can change in a hurry. So we got UNLV. I mean, that's really it. As simple as that. We've learned our lesson. We have UNLV. We're going to focus on UNLV. We're trying to play our best game of the season. We feel like we've got a little bit of momentum in some areas, got a little bit of confidence where we're executing better in some areas. How do we continue to do that? It's real simple. It starts in practice. That's what we focused on. So now if we decide to skip practice and go look at Friday and just be waiting for 3.5 hours later to get a win so we can talk about the next one, we've been down that road. It doesn't work very well for us.
With your senior class, we know a lot about some of those guys, some of the captain types, but there's some other guys, the Taylor Popes, the Kellenbergers, those guys that we don't know as much about. Some of those guys that you kind of that stand out to you when you think about this class that maybe aren't necessarily the guys who are out there every snap.
Yeah. Well, Taylor Pope, he carried the hammer out last game. We actually had kind of a 3-way vote for some guys to actually carry the hammer out, so we had a little team voting here, and they got a chance to see the plays, and Pope was unanimous. Guys love him, they respect him. Here's a guy, does he have as many reps as as other guys know, but he's very well respected, comes to work every day. And I think that's one of the things that, like in any type of job, not everybody gets all the attention, but you certainly notice the guys that put in the work. And Taylor's just one of those guys. He puts the work in every single day. Is he out there every rep? No. Does he do things on special teams? Yes. Does he do it every single week? Yes. Kellen Burr. Kellen's got about as positive an attitude when he goes out there every week. His job is to do his job when he's called on. His job is to also make sure the guys in front of him are doing their job, and provides, I think, leadership in his own way to help the guys out in the offensive line room. He's great entertainment in a good way. He brings a spirit to that group, and guys, I think it matters when you have guys like that show up, because you got 5 guys that are getting banged up every week. They're a little bit sore. They walk in there, and Mario might be like, hey, it's a Tuesday practice, and Kellen Burr's right there in his face saying whatever, and because he knows that Mario's got to go play well, because he's the guy that's starting for us. And those guys, to me, on football teams, the ones that don't play as much but provide all that value, you have to have that, because you got 11 guys at a time. You got one football, and all these other guys, what are they doing? They're just sitting around doing nothing. No, these guys are preparing themselves to play, but providing a whole lot of value to the rest of the team. And we can go through a group of guys that way, and that's just part of who we are. I think we recognize whether it's being executed on the field, it's being executed as a teammate, and I think our guys understand that. And so you may not have the stats, but you certainly have the status of being a great teammate.
Over the last couple of games, I know Brett's done a lot of good things since he's been here, and he's posted up great numbers and stuff. But I mean, over the last 2 weeks, he just seems particularly dialed in. I mean, in the last 2 games, he has 9 incompletions, and he has almost more touchdowns than he does incompletions over that stretch. I mean, I guess how impressive has he been? And I don't know if you noticed a difference or anything like that.
Yeah.
But what's led to that focus, I guess?
Just getting better. I think experience for him. We talked about it earlier in the year. He's never had that red shirt year. There's still things that he's been learning as he's gone through this season. Preparation habits, knowing the game plan. I think Coach Hill doing a great job with him of really honing in on what are we trying to accomplish. You got plays, you got all sorts of options on it. Well, no, this is what we're trying to get done. And then if not, hey, here's the other option to it. And Brett, his preparation habits and experience now is leading into him making decisions on the field that get us out of some bad plays. He's been able to handle that more and more. Like, hey, if we do get this one look, we don't want to run it. Well, we've had that one look show up several times in the last couple games. He's got us out. I think running the ball effectively has helped. And then, the emergence of Wilson and Thomas continuing to be playmakers for us. The tight ends, Alec Danes has had a couple touchdowns in the last 2 games, so those guys are popping. Jake Rowe getting back and looking healthy again and making plays. It's a combination of guys around him too. And I think when your quarterback's playing well and he's making the right adjustments, other guys have confidence, and then when they get their chance to make a play, they're making it. So I don't think it's nothing against Brett, but I think guys around him are playing better too. And he's seeing that, and he's letting his guys go make plays. And I think that's what really good quarterbacks do. They just operate and be very efficient. He's been that way.